Hello, friends, welcome to my channel Literature Academy. How are you all? I hope you all are doing great. I know, guys, this video is very late, but I believe it's better late than never. With that note, let's start today's video. So today's video is the continuation of my previous video in which I have discussed about poetry in detail. So this video is also going to very helpful and informational because today we are going to do a detailed discussion about prose, and in this video we will cover origin of the word prose, its definition, types of prose, its varieties, and elements of prose, so that there is no confusion left and you can grab maximum information from here. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so I want to ask you that do you ever feel that whatever we talk and discuss in our daily life, what it is in literary term, or what is the literary term for those talks and discussion? Well, in literary term it is known as prose. And why we consider it as prose, you will get to know it later in the video. First, let's know the origin of word prose, where this word prose came from. So the word prose came from the Latin expression prosa oratio, which means straightforward or direct speech. So the word prose defines itself that it is something which is straightforward or direct. Now the origin is clear. Let's move ahead to know meaning of word prose. What is prose? So in simple words, prose is an ordinary language which we use in our daily conversation, followed by basic grammatical structure or rules or conventions, which means ordinary language used by human being in their daily conversation. In literature, any written work that follows grammatical structure consider as prose. Whatever written in paragraphs and should followed by basic grammatical rules, and in writing, any work which is written in paragraphs rather than verse is known as prose. So here I would like to remind you that I have already told you in my previous video that whatever written in verse known as poetry. So we know that whatever is written in verse is known as poetry. Now whatever is not written in verse, instead written in paragraphs followed by just basic grammatical structure, known as prose. Okay? And I have told you earlier that whatever we talk and discuss in our daily life is known as prose in literary terms. Because as we know that prose is direct or straightforward speech, and it doesn't follow any grammatical structure but follows basic grammar, not the convention of grammar or any rhyming structure like poetry. And our daily conversation is also direct speech and doesn't require any rhyming structure like poetry. That's why we can call it prose in literary terms. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you one of the simplest definition of prose, that is prose is a form of written or spoken language that usually exhibits a natural flow of speech and grammatical structure. So that is the definition of prose written in Wikipedia. I really consider this definition a simplest definition because it clears the meaning of prose in simplest way, and by that I hope you get the answer of what is prose. If still any confusion left about prose, you can ask me in comment box. Okay? Now we discuss about the types of prose. We have clear idea of prose now. Prose also has its types. Let's discuss them. Okay, so there are mainly four types of prose present in literature. Number one is fictional prose. Number two is non-fictional prose. Number three is heroic prose. And number four is poetry prose. Okay, so these are the four types of prose. Now, what is fictional prose? Fiction means imagination. So, any written work which is based on imagination is known as fictional prose. For examples, novels, short stories, fairy tales, etc. So these are based on imagination of writer. That's why it is known as fictional prose. Now, what is non-fictional prose? So Any written work which is based on facts and true events is known as non-fictional prose. For example, autobiography, newspaper, essay, etc. All these doesn't require any imagination and it is just based on facts. So now what is heroic prose? Heroic prose is any written work which is meant to recite is known as heroic prose. For example, fable, legends, etc. These are written only for reciting purpose. So now we have one more form, that is prose poetry. So it is poetry but written in paragraphs instead of verse. It follows rhyming structure. Only difference we can see here is it is written in paragraphs. That's why the word prose added before poetry. Okay. Now types of prose is complete here, and I hope you get the idea of types of prose. Let's move ahead to know the varieties of prose. So there are 4 kind of varieties in prose, and these are: number 1 is narrative prose, second is descriptive prose, third is persuasive prose, and last one is expository prose. Their name already give you the idea of them, like what kind of prose these are. So first we discuss narrative prose. Narrative prose mainly deals with events, whether it is internal event or external event. If we talk about internal event, it describes the thoughts, emotions, feelings of individual, and narrative writing presents the events so well that we lose ourselves in the characters and the events. It also narrates events sequence wise to grip the attention of the reader. For example, narrative writing are the Ramayana and the Mahabharata is the best example of narrative prose. It also answers the WH questions like what happens, why does it happen, when does it happen, where does it happen, and to whom does it happen. What makes narrative interesting is not just what is said, but the way it is said. Okay, now come to the descriptive prose. Descriptive prose describes things as they are or they appear to be. It can be the description of natural disasters like landscape, cloud bursting, or description of a person or an event. Like if landscape happens somewhere, so it describes as where it happens, and at what time it happened, like that. So we can say painting in words a fine description. In literature, a good description translates the writer's observation into vivid details and creates an atmosphere for its own. So through his or her description, the author tries to recreate what he has been or she has been imagined. Okay, examples of descriptive prose is the character Mr. Squeers in Charles Dickens' Nicholas Nickleby, in which Mr. Squeers' description is so successful and so sharp that we can visualize him. We are told about his height, his nose, hair, face, his forehead, and dress. Okay, so next variety is expository prose. Expository writing mainly deals in definition, explanation, or interpretation. It includes writing on science, writing on law, writing on philosophy, technology, political science, history, and writing on literary criticism. Exposition is the form of logical presentation. Its primary objective is to explain something or clarify something by logical points or in a logical way. It presents details concretely and exactly. Okay, so now we move to the last variety we have is persuasive prose. It means creative writing, or we can also call it argumentative writing, to make reader believe in the idea of writer. For example, advertisements. It involves convincing the reader to believe in the writer's idea and to take action on that idea. like advertisements, generally wrote in the persuasive prose so that people can believe on them and start taking action on whatever the advertisement shows or tells, right? So I hope here the varieties of prose is clear to you. Now we talk about the elements of prose. Here I will give you the only basic information of elements, because if I share everything in this video you will get confused. So let's know what are the elements in prose. Elements of prose are character, plot, setting, theme, point of view, and mood. These are the elements of prose. Okay, so character refers to the people or animal in the story. A story generally describes their interaction. It includes whatever happened in their life, whatever going on with them or in their relationships, and the changes they undergo. Plot is what happened in the story or the sequence of events. Setting is when and where the story takes place. Theme is the lesson or message of the story. Point of view relates to the person narrating the story. For example, first person point of view, it means the narrator is a character in the story and narrates the story. Third person point of view is the narrator is not a character in the story and refers to the characters by name or he or she. So this is the basic idea of element. Okay, so guys, I'll make a separate video of the elements in detail so that you could get maximum information. So okay guys, that's it for today's video. We will discuss remaining form, which is drama, in next video. Till then, take care and thank you so much for watching this video, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel so that I can get motivation to make more such content. Okay, bye guys.